here we are. Good afternoon from Brussels, Belgium, everybody, and welcome to the Experlogix document summer and fall release wave update. I hope you can all hear me loud and clear. I have Ashana and Caitlin here, shoulder to shoulder with me during the session to make sure everything goes well on the technical side and to also answer some questions. Can you confirm, Ashana and Caitlin, that sound-wise and screen-wise, everything is hunky-dory?
Yes, you sound joyous this afternoon.
Fantastic, fantastic, brilliant. That was nicely put. So thank you for joining us today. We want to start off with some session housekeeping items just to get things going. First of all, you're super numerous today. There's a lot of you in here, so we're going to keep you all on mute just to don't get into a lot of unpleasant noises that you don't know that you are producing. But anyways, there's always one, right? So we're going to keep you all on mute, but you can ask questions as many as you like. You can do so in the chat box that you'll find, I think, to the right of your screen, but your user interface can be different from mine, so I'm not 100% sure if it's there or not. But anyways, you'll be able to see a chat window. You can put questions there if there are technical issues. You don't see the screen, you don't hear my voice, then we can immediately address those. If you have content questions, then those will be tackled during a nice little Q&A session that we'll do at the end of the session today. So that's the plan. If there's not enough time, that's what I wanted to add to that. If there's not enough time to go through all of the questions today, then we'll just follow up in an email with you afterwards and make sure that your questions are all answered. So, but really, thank you for showing up. We have people really joining us from all corners of the world. We have people coming in from the west coast of Canada and the US today. Thank you guys for getting up so early to be with us. And we also even have some Aussies and Kiwis here today who stayed up very late for us. So to give you some good return on that time investment, I'll do my best to provide you with really good content today. I'm totally pumped up for it and ready to go. I hope you are as well. So how are we going to do this? There's a couple of slides that I have lined up for you. Don't worry about it. I'm not a PowerPoint person. It's just a bunch of slides. I think it's 5 slides or so that we're going to go through. And then halfway through that, I'll probably jump out and do some live demoing. That's what I like to do the best, right? Or I like to do most, rather than going through PowerPoint slides. Although there will be some PowerPoint also in the demoing today, which you'll see that. All right, so let's get started. So first one of those 5 slides you have been looking at for enough time now includes a beautiful AI generated picture there of some quotation and an invoice document resting on a bed of autumn leaves. Yeah, I sometimes get poetic in my prompts. I'm sorry for that. And also check, we mentioned AI in the first minute of this webinar, so we don't have to get back to that topic anymore. Cool. All right, let's get started and get into the actual presentation. We want to talk about a bunch of things, starting with some release wave highlights. We're going to talk through all the things that are new in this release or these releases. We're actually talking about a bunch of releases, everything that we are releasing right now and have released in the summer. And then there's going to be some live demoing. After that, we'll return to the PowerPoint and talk about what's coming up in the next 2 seasons. That's basically what we're going to be doing today. So let's maybe kill the camera so we can focus on the screen. Let's do that. Here we are. So what are we going to talk about? And what are we going to demo? So new features. You can first of all now create and convert to Microsoft Excel and Microsoft PowerPoint formats, which is kind of fun. Gone are the days of only being able to create docx, PDF, and HTML files with Experlogix document automation. You can now also create Excels, you can create PowerPoints, you can open them, you can edit them, you can do all sorts of fun stuff with them. Really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing you all use those new features. What else are we going to talk about? What else is new in this release? Well, support for e-invoicing scenarios. E-invoicing is really a big thing in Europe, but not only in Europe, but there's a bunch of legislation coming up, the rules and regulations coming up, especially in Europe, in the next few years. Already starting now in Germany, and then later on also in Belgium and in a bunch of other countries, where companies will, and also governments will, have to create electronic invoices, or at least have an electronic form factor to the invoice that the invoices that they produce, right? So what is in the current release wave for e-invoicing is the capability to turn XML data that you receive from your systems of records and turn that XML data into a file that you can actually an e-invoice file that you can then just push to wherever it needs to go. And also the capability of converting to what we call a real e-invoice, which is a PDF document that also contains the electronic or the machine-readable version of that PDF, that invoice, as an attachment within that file. So that's the other path that we support. Both of these paths are valid ways of creating an electronic invoice. So that's what we have for e-invoicing in this release wave, and there's a bunch of other things coming in the next release wave. Connectivity to Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is now generally available. So with that, we basically take the last boxes that we wanted to tick in the Microsoft Dynamics ecosystem. So you can now generate documents from CE, from F&O, from Business Central, whatever Dynamics application you're using, you can use it with our software. Metadata management in Content Manager. What you can do now is not only store generated documents in Content Manager, but you can also add metadata to those documents to describe the content of the document or the file that you posted in there, to be able to search for that file, for instance, later, or to categorize it, and so on. There's a bunch of things that we added for DocuSign, not only in this release wave, but also in the previous release waves. We added a lot of DocuSign capabilities, but this one is a pretty cool one. There's a bunch of things that we've added. For instance, SMS delivery. So you can now send a text message to a receiver, so people can just sign their documents through their phone based on a text message that invites them to sign. We have exit points where instead of doing the DocuSign, the full DocuSign envelope handling in one go, it's in 3 different steps. First, the step to create an empty envelope. Then you can do all sorts of things to add additional documents, add additional signers, and so on and so forth to that envelope. And another thing that we can do then is actually submit that envelope and to get it signed, to send it out to really get it signed. So 3 different exit points there that you have in the process, which also helps if, for instance, an external service is actually creating the envelope, or you already have an envelope that you want to add generated documents to, for instance. So there's a bunch of really cool scenarios that you can, that can be addressed now with that functionality. Something that a lot of people have been asking for a very long time. We want to do repeating signatures, like, for instance, an initial on every page of a document. Yes, you can do that now. So that's also new in the new release. So that's really cool. Application theming, that's a feature on the document, the Experlogix document site, so you can apply nice colors. I can see that I missed to put the T in bold face there. Just I have application and then theming. Anyways, it's a cool feature. It's really nice. It also helps with accessibility. We're going to come back to that later on in this session as well. We have a preview connector to Experlogix CPQ, which is our CPQ application, configure price quote application for product configuration, pricing, and then quoting complex products. So we have connectivity for that, which really makes a lot of new scenarios available from within your CPQ application, which is pretty powerful. Rather than just being able to generate a document, you can now really bring up a flow execution panel, do all the interactive stuff that you can do in document automation. Typically, you can do those things now with your connector for CPQ. Also, the data that we fetch from CPQ is a lot more template designer friendly in structure now. So we're using our own technology called Cloud Connect to interact between or to integrate between Experlogix CPQ and document automation. And doing so, we get much easier to handle metadata. So that's really nice when you build templates. For instance, you're building out a truck. You now have, you can map a seat, and you can map a seat belt instead of very abstract categories and that sort of stuff. So really cool. Super excited about that. There's a bunch of cool features that we have available there. And some technical improvements as well. There is a new way of setting up a SharePoint connector. It's important to mention that. It's a little bit, to be honest, a little bit cumbersome to set up your Microsoft SharePoint connectors going forward. But unfortunately, there have been a bunch of changes. So if you want to use OAuth, which we recommend to set up your SharePoint connector, then you can no longer make use of the SharePoint registry. You have to make use of Azure Entra ID, and then that is well, there's a little bit of a process that you have to go through. We have it well documented on our help pages to get you through that. Obviously, also our support team is ready to help you should you be struggling with that. And then another feature, which is kind of an important technical improvement, is flow definition persistence. We had some odd cases where if you change the definition of a flow, and when you do that, while some of the flows are long-running flows and there's some flow execution still going on while you change the definition of a flow, if those flow executions would resume after some time, there could be a little bit of, well, in some cases there would be issues. And well, now those issues can are basically a thing from the past, because we have a capability now to actually take a snapshot of a flow definition whenever you start a flow execution. And then instead of looking at the flow definition, the live flow definition throughout the execution of the flow execution is just going to look at that persistent snapshot of that of the flow that it's carrying out. It will just carry out whatever is in the snapshot, and not whatever is in the live definition of the flow. It's a little bit technical there. Sorry if you're new to document automation, then probably this is a little bit Greek, but here we are. Okie dokie. So that's what we have in store. Those are the highlights, because there's a bunch of more features, of course. But this is what the highlights are really of the current release wave. Why don't I just get out of this PowerPoint stuff and get into some live action? So let's do that. Let's kill the presentation. Let me try that. Hop. Chip, 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 chip. Sorry. Yep, closed it. Okay, finally did it. Sorry, took me some time. And let's get over here with some live action. So I have a bunch of flows lined up here for this webinar that I'm just going to run from the flow builder experience, and we're maybe going to start off with this one, this Excel and PowerPoint flow that we have right here. So I'm just going to walk you through the flow definition here. I'm just going to run it afterwards. So what are we going to do with this one? We're basically going to start it from some test data here. We're going to generate a base document, and then that base document, we're going to turn that into a PowerPoint presentation. Just out of PowerPoint, we're going to get right back into PowerPoint. We're also going to generate an Excel file from it, and we're going to generate a PDF for it. After that, so there's a convert to Excel step. There's a convert to PowerPoint step here as well. You can see that. After we have done all of that, what we're actually going to do is open up that Excel, edit it. We're going to edit the PowerPoint as well, and then we're going to store our PowerPoint, our Excel, and our generated PDF in Content Manager. We're also going to create a share link for PowerPoint, for the PowerPoint presentation. And if you click that link, we're going to basically track that somebody has clicked that link. So that's what we're going to do with this flow. Why don't we just give it a shot and run it? So as flow input, I'm just going to select the sample here, and let's go for it. So as we go through the steps, we're generating a base document, and we're going to edit we've already turned it into an Excel. You see that one's pretty fast. And we can open it up right now and just get the Excel file that we have just produced. We're going to load that in the browser. So it takes a wee while to get the fonts right and so on and so forth. But once we have it, so here we are. We've taken a Word template really and turned that into an Excel file actually at runtime. So this is a real Excel file, so we can do whatever we want to do with it. If we want to, for instance, get the formatting right, like we can do format cells, and we can play around with the layout of the cells, the formatting of the cells. We can do all of that. It's not my intention to turn this into an Excel demo, but just to demonstrate that you can, do all of the things that you can typically do with an Excel file. You can turn this into currency fields, for instance. Let's do that. You can calculate with this. You can insert new rows. Let me just insert a row above here and just do some merging here to make it look a little bit prettier, and then do a subtotal. So that's something that I can do. I'll just type subtotal in here. What else? I can right align it. Looks nicer, and then I can actually do a sum. There we are, of whatever is there. So when I get my subtotal row, I can fix it a little bit so it looks a little bit nicer. There you are. So I'm not going to show you all of the features of Microsoft Excel. There's no credit in that for me because that's all pretty well done by Microsoft, I guess. But what is kind of cool is that we didn't leave the browser, right? So we're still inside the browser. We have created our Excel file. We have edited our Excel file, and it's all happening in the browser. So you don't have to download anything in your Excel environment. You don't have to have Excel even installed on your PC. You can perfectly edit in the browser. So to save whatever needed saving, you just basically close the browser tab. That's the only thing you want to do, and then you hit next. And then we continue the flow and we go to the next step in the flow, where we'll do exactly the same thing for the PowerPoint that we have just generated. So we can open this up. Here we are getting into the browser, and there's a PowerPoint presentation that we have just created from a Word template that we have. So this is our our quotation with more or less the same table. It's, by the way, it's not bringing in that Excel, that Excel table. That would be phenomenal, but that's something that we're thinking about it at this point, but we don't have that just yet. It's not on our roadmap also, don't get too excited. But yeah, this is a table that we have with all of the quote stuff. Some extra information with some nice pictures of the stuff that is in here. We can do the same thing. You can start editing this thing if you want to have that picture here, top right, for instance. If you want to add more text, if you want to do other stuff, you can perfectly do so. You can edit the hell out of this, and then same procedure. You basically just close the tab, and you just hit next, and then we continue with the flow. There's some safety built into this, some safety net built into this. If there are like any changes that are yet to be stored, then the flow will wait until the file is unlocked. And if the file is unlocked, then we continue to make absolutely sure that we're going on with the latest version of your edited file. So we have all your edits. That's basically what we're going to do. So cool. So I have also sent out an email. Here it is. That contains. It starts with "Hey Anna," because that's my phony persona, who is the salesperson here for this quotation, where Anna has received an email that says, "Okay, we have created a final presentation. You can click it, and then you'll see that final presentation that we have just." Whoa, what's going on? Oh yeah, I get it. Sorry, I was sharing the GoToWebinar screen. That was a little bit too much. And you see, it's the final presentation with the change that we just did there, because you can see that the picture is now here at the top. Okay. What else is in that email? If I open it up again, where is it? Here it is. We can actually have a link to the Experlogix documents. Content manager piece, where we have created a folder that contains our quote PDF, our quotation table Excel, and our webinar quote that we have generated. We can look at it again, but we'll also see that we have this share that we have created that we send out with that link, and through that share we can actually see that share has been entered right now. We can, there were two shares actually. I created a share for this earlier today, and we'll see, because I was kind of industrious clicking the share earlier on, we can see that the download link, or that download links for this this document that we have produced have already been clicked 6 times. So you can see that there are some analytics on how people interact with the files that you have generated. So that's kind of cool. Another thing that's new is you can create metadata. You can associate metadata. You can associate a metadata data set, and then you get some questions that you can fill out. Like, my customer is Global 1. This is for the EMEA space. This is still for this fiscal year. This is my sales director, and this is going to be my probability. I'm going to save that as metadata with this file. This is going to help me retrieve the file later. Okay. That was the first demo I wanted to do. You probably saw, by the way, that I'm using some kind of nice colors. That has to do with themes that we have here. We can change the theme of our software straight away on the fly. So let me just change my theme right here. So what I'm going to do is set this as the current, and that changes the color scheme of Experlogix documents. That's kind of a little nice to have, cool little feature. And it works really well with SmartFlows also, because all of the forms that you have that will show up in later demos I'm going to do today, those forms, they will also have that theming applied. You'll see that in a minute. Okay, let me jump into the second demo I wanted to do for you today, which is a flow for e-invoicing. So what we're going to do in this one is we're going to ask some questions. We're going to retrieve some UBL, XML, UBL, Universal Business Language. That's the language, standardized language used for e-invoicing and other electronic documents. We're going to retrieve some data. We're going to convert to an e-invoice if that's requested, or we can just create an XML file and then just have that as the output of our flow. Everything that we are going to create, we're going to store that into Content Manager again. So let's do that. Let's run that flow. I'm going to run it from a sample as well. So there we are. So we're asking basically the question here, what are we going to do? We want to prepare an electronic invoice. There's some information about electronic invoicing. This is using the form components of Experlogix documents. You can build out cool forms with all sorts of information. You can put a video in here if you want to that explains electronic invoicing, whatever. Anyways, we're going to select. You can see that those select boxes turn brown. That's because I selected the fall theme just a second ago. Let's hit next. So we want to do both, right? We want to do an e-invoice, which is a PDF, and we also want to convert our data to XML. We'll both have the XML file as a result. So this is what we have produced right now. So if I go back to my Experlogix documents environment, and I take it to content, what I actually have just created in my sales documentation here is a folder called invoices, and that now, as you can see, 1527, that's the current time here, has created two files, a PDF file and an XML file. Yeah, if I look at those, if I look at that XML file, for instance, this is what it looks like. This is actually the UBL compliant XML that we have basically turned into a file that you can just post to wherever it needs to be posted, and that's going to be your electronic invoice. If you look at that PDF, when you first look at it, it looks like a PDF, but this actually also has, if I download it, let's just simply put it here in the downloads. And if I go to that folder, if I open this up, let's open it up right here. What I can see is it has an attachment, which is that XML file right here. And that XML file is exactly the same XML file that I just opened up as well. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, this is your standard invoice that you maybe already had. And I just noticed I forgot to map the invoice ID here. But this is just the invoice that you basically already had. You can easily turn into a UBL compliant e-invoice like that. So shouldn't be too much of a hassle in that case to comply with all of the legislation that you have to comply with for e-invoicing. Cool. Looking at the time, let's speed this up a little more and let's get right into the next demo I wanted to do, which is a DocuSign demo. So we've done a ton of things with DocuSign, but one of the most funky things that you can do now is actually just split up the DocuSign envelope handling in multiple steps. So rather than just sending out, just creating a document and then sending that document to DocuSign and let them handle it, what you can actually now do is, first of all, create an empty envelope. Then we do some steps in between. Then we're going to add some stuff to the envelope. What we're actually going to add, sorry, I'm losing my voice. What we're actually going to add here is recipients here that are based on, well, that are coming in actually from this this flow where, or sorry, this form where we're asking people to add a recipient, and then we're just basically going to map their phone numbers because we want to send out an SMS text message to them to invite them to actually sign. So that's basically what we want to do. All right. You can also add documents to your envelope and stuff like that. We didn't do that in this flow. Okay. Then we're gonna have a special step and a separate step to submit the DocuSign envelope. If you would like to manipulate your DocuSign envelope even further before you send it out, you can still do so externally by putting an HTTP request here that sends out whatever it needs to send out, or that waits for for an external service to do something with your envelope, and then you can use that updated envelope here to actually submit that to DocuSign, and then DocuSign is going to take care of the processing. Afterwards, we're going to put everything nicely into Experlogix Documents Content Manager. Okay, cool. Let's run this flow as well. See what happens. We're starting it from a JSON sample. So there's some input required here. We're asking first who within our company wants to sign the document that is about to be signed. It's basically a maintenance contract that we want to produce, and then we're asking for phone numbers here. So I've selected Graham Anderson as my contact here that will sign the document for me. And Graham's going to get a text message on a phone number that ends in 77. This is actually my phone number. That's why we put the stars in place, because otherwise I would be sharing my phone number with all of our customers right now. And as much as I like you, I don't like to take all of your support calls very early in the morning. So let's go and hit next. So we're going through all those tabs, adding to the DocuSign envelope. Now we're submitting the envelope, and what I expect now is that we're waiting, and I have my phone right here, and it's already buzzing. I'm sorry to be on my phone during this webinar, but I actually received a text message right now. I know I'm not sharing the camera, but you'll just have to believe me. I'm just basically going through the process right now of waiting for DocuSign to load the DocuSign or the document on my phone, and I'm going to start signing it. I'm signing it in multiple places. Almost done. One more signature to place. There we are. Complete. Okie dokie. And yep, with that completed, I'm just going to open my inbox again because this is a document that needs to be signed by multiple parties. So let's get into my inbox again. Where's my inbox? Here it is. And I'm going to go into this DocuSign demo environment here. And I received this document as the other party. So I'm going to open it up. And what you'll see is that after I log in, what you'll see that the other party has already initialed, Graham Anderson has already initialed this, and this is what I just did on my phone, right? So I can now start signing, and as you can see, there's an initial on every single page in the footer on every single page of this document, except for the last one where we're just gonna place a signature. So here we are. So that's the other party has signed. So demonstrated two things here at the same time. Well, a bunch of things at the same time, but also including the fact that you now can place signatures in repeating sections of a template, and those will repeat wherever the section is repeated on your resulting document. So let's finish that. DocuSign is going to send 1 million emails to everybody involved and saying, okay, it's done and the envelope is completed now. But what you'll also get is in Experlogix documents. There's also going to be this agreement section that will be updated once we get there. not quite yet. Well, we'll get there at some point, where the signed document, the fully signed document, is going to be loaded as well. So okay, so those are the demos I wanted to show you concerning everything Experlogix documents and Experlogix smart flows. I'm just going to quickly jump into Business Central to just do a wee little demo before we go to the next part of the presentation, to show you that you can basically now also run flows from within BC, and we have that in preview for some time. One of the things that you could not do in the preview time and that we've added now is the capability of sending emails and writing back documents to BC as attachments to your record. So let me just quickly demonstrate that. This is the flow that we're going to run, where this document is going to be produced. And we're not only going to produce it, we're also going to send that document back to BC, and we're going to create an email as well. So the output of this flow should be that we have two things now: an email and also the generated document as an attachment. So we can have a look at that email. I didn't really bother to beautify it, so it's a pretty basic email, but you can you get the idea, right? So you can personalize it. You can obviously also use a template to create this this email. So, but here we are. So that's a very basic email, and in attachment to that email, we have the document that we have generated. But also, if we go back to the actual record that we started from, you'll also see that we have the document attached. So now we have two attachments, and this is the attachment that I just produced here. So there we are. So quotation for a data incorporation with a lot of items. There we are. So cool. So I think that's what I wanted to demo today. I'll just jump back into the presentation, because there's a couple of other things I want to quickly touch upon before I open it up for questions. So commercial updates. We have a couple of new pricing tiers. It doesn't mean there's any changes for you. We're going to keep you on your current pricing tier. We're going to have a conversation with you to maybe see if it makes sense for you to go to the new pricing tiers. But rather than standard and premium and what is it, ultimate and enterprise tiers, we'll move to different namings and different tiers going forward. I'm going to call it Foundation, Growth, and Scale, where Foundation is very basic, Growth is like a medium size thing, and Scale is really a value-based offering, where we are going to check what it is exactly that you need in terms of license, in terms of features, and then we're just basically going to adjust, our offering to that, right? So that's what it's all based. It's all value-based, but the main things are still, in terms of consumption, are still what features do you need, how many users are going to use those features, and how many documents are you going to use. We're still talking documents, but if you look at the later stage here, what we're going to do is we are going to gradually move away from just simply counting documents, and we're going to start counting document processing units, DPUs, to calculate the consumption. We've added a bunch of AI features. We've added a lot of operations on documents. We're thinking about doing document actions on multiple documents at the same time, and so on and so forth. Our software has turned into much more than just simply generating documents. And in terms of consumption, I think it makes sense. And we think, not just I, we think it makes sense to adjust our consumption calculations or adjust those to the new reality there. And what's also happening, and I'm super excited about that, is that we're going to get to general availability of Experlogix documents. That is all the features in Experlogix documents that we're using now in combination with SmartFlows. So it's really become hard to imagine for me now to use SmartFlows without Experlogix documents, and I hear a lot of customers are already using a bunch of those in all their tests and so on and so forth, and they really want to take it to production as well. But we have that preview flag saying, hey, we cannot guarantee production readiness at this point. So we're getting close to that. We are doing a couple of refactors right now on the Experlogix document site, and once we get those out of the way, and we're super ready for the production or for general availability, we're going to go with it. So meaning that you can use all of the stuff that you're doing with Experlogix documents in production. And what you can do with Experlogix document is going to grow considerably also in the future. If I take it to the next slide, one thing that I really want to point out is fillable PDFs. It's going to be a cool feature that's coming up on Experlogix documents pretty soon, where you will be able to pre-fill and deliver acroform PDFs. So still a lot of document processes require you to fill out a fillable PDF, an acroform PDF. We'll have a new type of templates, which is the fillable PDF template, where you can upload an acroform and then use that as a template, where at runtime you will be able to take data that you take from your CRM system or from a form or whatever you use as a source of data, and automatically fill out PDFs, fillable PDFs that you can then process whatever way you need to process those. Bunch of other things that are coming up in the next releases, in the winter and spring releases, stuff around accessibility. So Europe has not only been focusing on e-invoicing, but also on accessibility. There's the European Accessibility Act. And even though it doesn't really say anything or create any kind of restrictions or whatsoever for PDFs, we want you to be able to create PDF UAs, and that's coming up. PDF UAs are PDFs that are optimized for universal accessibility. So screen readers can easily read them out loud and so on and so forth. And what we actually want to do, and we already built it out, so it's going to be available pretty soon, is a way to check the documents that you produce, the PDFs that you produce, whether they are indeed accessible, and use an accessible validation feature, accessibility validation feature in your flows as you execute them, meaning that you can pause a flow, stop a flow whenever a document that you're producing is not passing the test, and then you can choose what you want to do with that information. Either you stop the flow completely, or you improve the document before you send it out, and so on and so forth. We're also introducing a high contrast mode in our flow execution panel. We're doing a ton of more things around accessibility. As for instance, form level theming in Experlogix documents coming up, which will also help a great deal with accessibility. For e-invoicing, we're going to make life even more easy with a UBL connector that will be able to fetch data from, for instance, your F&O instance, your F&O environment, and then start to fetch data from F&O right in UBL format. So you don't have to worry about getting that UBL file from somewhere, that UBL compliant XML file from somewhere. It's just going to be a matter of getting your data in the right way out of F&O. One of the networks that are being used in Europe to deliver e-invoices is PEPL. We're going to make sure that we connect to the PEPL network as well, and that you can send your e-invoices to the PEPL network or through the PEPL network from within your flows. We're building out a ton of other things as well. There's going to be an upgraded Salesforce integration. We're going to allow to create metadata from within your flows. There's a bunch of things we're going to improve in terms of reporting and so on and so forth. So something to point out also, I think, on the technical side, is that we're doing a bunch of stuff around OAuth, for instance, where HTTP connectors will get, or will be possible to do OAuth on an OAuth authentication on an HTTP connector, which, for instance, will allow you to optimize security, for instance, also for your Power Automate flows that you're running in combination with Smart Flows. Also for email servers, the Exchange server, for instance, will not support basic authentication somewhere in the middle of next year any longer. Microsoft is retiring that possibility. So we'll also do OAuth on email servers pretty soon to address that situation. So a lot of good stuff coming up. In terms of good stuff coming up, did any questions come up during this session? Shana or Caitlin, can you take it from here with some questions?
Yes, we did have a couple of questions come in. Our first question was about the Excel output, and the question is it an Excel template, or is it still a Word template that creates a new Excel sheet?
Speaking about templating, I actually had this happy templating slide to end the presentation with. I might as well put it up. Yeah, so it's actually a Word template. So we're instead of bugging you with a completely new template experience in Excel and PowerPoint, we decided that you can just build out those templates in Word, and then it's really a conversion process. So you create your slides or your slide templates basically as pages in Word, and then it's all nicely converted into a PowerPoint presentation. And same thing goes for Excel. So you build a table out in Word, and that table will turn into an Excel sheet.
Oh, our other question we have: can signature placeholders also be used in repeating sections of compositions?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good question. So basically, it's possible to like what I showed in the demo today was actually a template where we just put a placeholder in the footer of the actual template. That was a standard template, but it also works with header and footer sections of composition. So you just basically put those in there, and that works exactly the same way. By the way, if you're using a different e-signature provider than DocuSign, for instance, OneSpan Sign or Adobe Acrobat Sign, and also the other ones that we integrate with, that works as well. So the repeating section stuff is supported for all of the e-signature providers that we integrate with.
All right, we just have a couple more questions. The next one is: are the new capabilities for DocuSign also available for the other e-signing providers?
Which is exactly what I just said. Yeah, indeed. So
you just answered that. So somebody had the question in that already. All right, and the last question we have.
That's my inner Nostradamus. Is that I felt the question coming, so there we are.
The next question we have is the CPQ connector included in the new price tiers?
Oh yeah, the CPQ. I didn't tell a lot about the new CPQ connector. We briefly touched upon it in the beginning of the session, but so in terms of being included, what it actually is it's going to be included somehow in our Experlogix CPQ offering. There's probably going to be like a certain uplift on the price or something like that. But so the idea is that it's really going to be a part of our CPQ offering, where the document automation part of that offer will be covered inside that CPQ price that you're actually paying for your CPQ software. So that's basically how it works. We kind of see it as what we typically refer to as an OEM integration. So it's just a first-party integration in this case. So yeah, it's kind of captured like that.
And that is all the questions that we had. If we have any more, please feel free to throw them in the chat right now. But if not, then I guess, Erwin, you can close us out.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.